Let me tell you right now, if you ever think you know exactly what goes on inside your own home behind closed doors, trust me, you probably don't. I learned that the hard way on a day that started out just like any other with the sun pouring through the windows of my Beverly Hills mansion and ended with my entire world flipped upside down in 30 seconds flat. I came home early from a meeting planning to surprise my family, but I was the one who got blindsided. Picture this. My name's Jonathan Richards, and as I walked up to the kitchen, I heard a sound that stopped me cold. It was so quiet, but it cut through the house like a siren. Through the crack in the door, I saw my 8-year-old adopted daughter, Aisha, kneeling on the floor, hunched over a metal dog bowl, the one we used to use for Duke, our golden retriever, before he passed. And Aisha, the little girl I'd brought home from a Detroit orphanage 3 years ago, was eating from it like it was the most natural thing in the world. Dry dog food tears running down her cheeks, not saying a word. My wife, Victoria, stood over her arms, cross-voiced like ice. "Finish it! That's what a liar gets for dinner. Who told you to tattle to Daddy about not getting lunch?" And just like that, any image I'd ever had of our perfect life of Victoria as the doting stepmom shattered into a million pieces. I'd always prided myself on being a man who could fix anything, tech problems, business crises, even complicated mergers. But that moment, I was just a guy whose heart was about to break. Maybe the cruelest part was that a couple hours before I'd actually laughed off a call from Aisha, she'd whispered into the phone at my office that she was hungry, that Victoria forgot to feed her again. I promised I'd bring home pizza, told her everything would be fine. I had no idea. As I stood there listening to Victoria mock her, "Daddy knows I take good care of you, right? We're a happy family, aren't we?" I heard Aisha answer, voice so tiny, so flat it made my skin crawl. "Yes, Mommy Victoria, we're a happy family." It wasn't the voice of a kid trying to stay out of trouble. It was the sound of someone who'd given up, who knew the rules and how to survive. I stumbled away from the door, heart beating out of my chest. For 3 years, I'd traveled nonstop, building my company, trusting Victoria to hold down the fort, believing all the Instagram-perfect photos and glowing school reports. I thought I'd rescued Aisha from a hard life. Turns out I'd delivered her straight into another kind of hell, right under my own roof. But here's what Victoria didn't know about me. I grew up as the only black kid at an elite school in Connecticut. I'd seen every kind of prejudice heard, every backhanded compliment learned early, how to spot people who wore fake smiles. So when I saw Aisha on that kitchen floor, something inside me snapped, and something else, cold calculating, kicked in. That night I locked myself in my office, told Victoria I had an international call. Instead, I started picking apart every year of our life together, like I was dissecting code for a virus. The photos Aisha always blurred in the background. School reports, late, tired, needs more discipline. Victoria's explanations always the same. "She comes from a rough place, honey. I have to be strict." I remembered being 8 myself, trying to fit in, swallowing every insult with a polite smile just to survive. But this was my daughter, and I wasn't about to let it slide. I opened my desk, pulled out what looked like a charger but was really a high-end audio recorder, and set up surveillance around the house. Call it paranoia or experience. I call it protecting my own. That's when I caught Victoria on the phone with her sister Rebecca, bragging Jonathan's never home, so it's easy to keep Aisha in line. "She's useful too. Someone's got to clean this place, right?" Rebecca hesitated, but Victoria laughed. "Someone needs to civilize her." That's when it hit me. This wasn't just neglect. This was cruelty planned out and justified. I started collecting evidence texts, altered medical records, financial transfers. Victoria thought I'd never notice. She'd been funneling money out of Aisha's account money I set aside for her future to buy herself jewelry and fund her lifestyle. Every bit of it I logged and saved piece by piece. By 5 the next morning, I'd made up my mind. I got up and cooked breakfast for Aisha, her favorite pancakes. The look on her face when she walked in like she was seeing a ghost. Victoria came in all forced smiles and cold eyes. "What a lovely surprise," she said, but her hands were tight on the counter. I watched Aisha pick at her food, waiting for permission to smile. "Eat up, princess," I told her. Victoria shot me a warning look. Be careful not to spoil her. That's when I said real quiet. Sometimes people take advantage of kindness in ways we can't even imagine. But there's always a reckoning. For the first time, I saw real fear flicker across Victoria's face. For a week, I played the loving husband home early dinners together, even a family trip to Disneyland. Victoria ate up the attention, bragged to her friends at the club about how sweet I'd become, how guilty I must feel for working so much. Little did she know I was installing more cameras documenting every fake smile and every cruel word. Friday, I canceled a $40 million meeting to drive Aisha to school. She sat in the back seat, hands folded, eyes on the floor. "Aisha," I said, "you can tell me anything, right?" She looked scared to death. "I'm good when I behave, Daddy. That's what Mommy Victoria says." It broke my heart, but it also fired me up. This wasn't just about discipline. It was systematic psychological abuse, and I had the proof. That afternoon, while Victoria got her nails done, I called Marcus, my best friend and personal attorney. I showed him everything. He watched the videos, his face getting darker by the minute. "Jonathan, this is criminal. She could get 10 years. I said, I want more than prison, Marcus. I want her to lose everything she ever cared about except my daughter." He nodded, and we set our plan into motion. The Disneyland weekend was bittersweet. Aisha glowed with happiness, but kept checking Victoria's reaction, flinching when offered treats. Meanwhile, Victoria posed for selfies, hashtagging #blessed, cutting Aisha out of the frame. I screenshotted every fake memory. Monday, Marcus called with a bombshell. Victoria had been using Aisha's name to set up fake accounts committing tax fraud. "The FBI's gonna eat this up," he said. I just smiled and set up a meeting with the district attorney. Thursday morning, it all came crashing down. FBI agents at the door, Victoria's accounts frozen. She tried to play the victim. "You can't do this. My husband's Jonathan Richards, but Agent Rodriguez just said, actually, it was your husband who made this possible." Victoria's legs buckled. We watched as agents searched the house, bagging up evidence. When I walked in with Marcus and a social worker, Victoria tried to talk her way out. Marcus played her the recordings. "Eat, you disgusting thing," her voice echoed on the tablet. "That's the dinner a liar deserves." Her face drained of all color. She tried to throw me under the bus. "You're gonna ruin me for this. For a child who isn't even ours." The social worker stopped her. "You're incriminating yourself." Marcus smiled. "Now it's hate crimes too." Victoria saw her whole world crumble in real time, and for once, there was no filter, no likes, no carefully staged photos to save her. Victoria was led away in handcuffs, neighbors watching her perfect life exposed for what it was, a lie built on cruelty. The real ending, though, happened over the next 2 years. Aisha, once a scared, quiet girl, stood on stage at her school accepting the Best Student Award, voice steady and clear. "A real family loves you for who you are." The applause thundered, and I swear I've never felt prouder in my life. Victoria served her time, lost everything, ended up alone working a minimum wage job, her name forever linked to shame. Meanwhile, Aisha and I started over in Malibu, just us, fresh ocean air, real laughter echoing through our home. She made friends, slept through the night, grew up knowing she was safe and loved. My company doubled in value, but honestly, none of that compared to seeing my daughter smile for real. Sometimes the justice system works. Sometimes karma handles the rest. But the best revenge isn't about taking someone down, it's building something so beautiful their cruelty just fades into the background. Now, whenever I hear Aisha laughing, I remember that day in the kitchen and remind myself your real worth is measured by how you protect the ones who can't protect themselves. So tell me, what would you have done? Did justice really get served, or was it just luck and timing? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's hear what you'd do if you were in my shoes.